I'm happy that you're here so you can hear this, and if it's rude, you can slap me. Would you say that title insurance is kind of like that?
No, because
I've been sued in a wholesale deal before. It's happened. It sucks. And how do you avoid that? How do you protect yourself, and how do you keep yourself in the best situation possible? And part of what your title company's job is to keep you safe, because they need to keep themselves safe, right?
Yes.
That's the whole purpose of their job, is to remain a third party, which they always will be. But they want to make sure that everything in the transaction is happening according to the contract, right? So their job is to enforce the contract and to make sure that it is everything that's happening is by the state's laws, and making sure that it's all above board, right? Is there anything else that a title company needs to pay attention to, or is employed to do other than that?
I mean, no, technically, we're the neutral third party, and they're just following the letter of the contract specifically to execute. And then, obviously, the title insurance piece is important.
Okay,
So we
so
have to make sure the deal is insurable.
right, and let's talk a little bit about that, because like title insurance is, it feels like here's how I've heard the title insurance described before. It. I'm happy that you're here so you can hear this, and if it's rude, you can slap me. So if
He's going to say, "Do I need it?"
well, no, I don't. So title insurance is like, you go to the grocery store and the person at the checkout rings you up, and then they put all the groceries in a bag, and then on your way out the door, the general manager of the grocery store comes and taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, you have to buy insurance to make sure that the lady who checked you out did all the work right." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? She's your lady." He's like, "Yeah, but you still need insurance to make sure she did the work right, because if she didn't do the work right and you walk out of here with something that you didn't pay for, you might go to jail."
Jail?
Well, or get in trouble.
Or have to pay.
Or have to pay. But is that, would you say that title insurance is kind of like that?
No, because there's all kinds of things that can
Okay,
happen that
okay.
aren't always discovered.
True.
That somebody could, after the fact, do something crazy.
Okay, so it's not about just the escrow officer or the title officer doing
No.
their job right. There's shady characters out there. There's people who do crazy stuff.
Yeah, you're dealing with one right now.
Yes, I'm dealing with one. I've been in the middle of a bunch where I bought a house where I thought I was dealing with a seller who owned the property, and then it turns out they don't own the property, and they sold a property that they didn't own, and then the actual seller of the actual owner of the property comes back to town, a year later, and someone's living in it, and they're like, "What the hell happened in my house?" And you're like, "Well, this house was bought and sold and renovated and then resold, and now this family lives in it." And these other people are like, "Yeah, but this is my vacation house. Like, what the hell is going on?" And so the title insurance had to unwind that entire situation, right? And that's why having title insurance is really important, because it protected everybody
Yep.
in that circumstance. Another situation that's happened before, where we had another shady character intercept money in the middle of a transaction, and wire fraud, and then the title company helped us get the money back, and that was very helpful and awesome. But guys, property fraud and fraud in general is rampant. It's very rampant in real estate business and transactions, and so having title insurance protects you there. What else would you say title insurance is good for?
Well, I think, every state, it's always going to vary too. So the kind of policies that you can have are also going to vary. I mean, I think it's one of those things, like, if there's something that might have happened way back when that was not discovered on the original chain of title, it protects you from being able to sell the home again, right? So if you ever want to go to sell the house, I mean, you have to make sure that if something did happen, that you've got protection so that you can actually go to sell it if you want to move.
Right. So the title policy is what gives us, because you guys are basically taking the liability
Correct.
and saying like, hey, if something happens, we'll pay the claim.
Right. And we pay claims often because it's just part of the business.
Right. So yes, title policies can be expensive, but when you think about being the insurer in that, they're like she said, there's title policies are paid out all the time, and so they're like, what do you guys bat? Like 95%, nothing happens.
Oh gosh, I don't know that percentage, but I know we pay a lot of claims, and I know we've got very high claims reserves as well.
Wow. Okay. And that would just be Fidelity Title, not all title companies.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, there's definitely some situations I've heard of, even for some friends recently, where their title company they were closing with didn't have any reserves to pay the claims, and that's when they have to go back to the investors and do cash calls and all kinds of other crazy things. So yeah, not all the title companies have reserves.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's like not every person has money in their savings account.
Right. But it's like an insurance.
They're driving a Maserati.
You feel like an insurance company should have reserves to pay a claim, but it's not necessary.
Mm-mm.
So you don't need. I could
you
be.
should. I mean, they should, because if claims come in, they need to figure out a way to pay them, but they just don't all budget for that.
They don't all budget for that. Well, that's great.